Whew, Scorpio, so happy to be back with you guys. I apologize for the delay. As soon as I started the readings last week, I got sick, but your girl's back, and I'm like 98% better. So I don't know if you could see in the sped up version, but every time I said energetic, like energetic overview of the month, I had piles of cards fall out. But I was like, that's way too many. We're going to have to refine this message. But first we have the Ace of Swords and the Ace of Cups. So regardless of any struggle or issue or whatever that you have this month that we're going to address over here, ultimately, any struggle that you're having, especially to understand cognitively or speak clearly, right, to another person and to yourself, this month will occur. So you may struggle in the beginning of the month, but I feel like by the time things shift into Pisces season, which is initiated by the Virgo full moon, you will have clear sight and a clear mind in terms of Ace of Cups. New opportunities to be renewed and resolved, I feel, when it comes to romantic endeavors, when it comes to what love means to you as a whole, right? A brand of love, a type of love, a modality of expression of love, and forgiveness. Right? Because until we embrace forgiveness, we cannot embrace a new expression of an emotional nature, of an emotional realm, right? And with aces always comes a new beginning, but the Ace of Swords in particularly talks about having to kind of struggle to get to that place. So if you're struggling to accept love, or if you're struggling to accept forgiveness in the realm of love, especially when it comes to yourself and the decisions that you've made in the past, or the things that you've let slide with old partners. I don't really feel like this would necessarily have to be doing with a current partner. Of course it could be, but I'm speaking in a more general sense and just your approach to romantic endeavors and really what your stance is at this time. Five of Wands and the Two of Cups. There may be a belief here that relationships are supposed to be hard, okay? Because we also have the Page of Cups and the Five of Pentacles. That the relationships are supposed to be hard and that you have to kind of earn love and earn the respect of other people. Oh, look, we have the Ace of Wands here too. And I feel like it's your duty this month, if you will, to breathe life into these beliefs in order to clear them out of your system. I feel like it's almost like a flame that has gone out, right? And it's gone out because struggle, right, creates chaos, which is going to tip over a flame. And I feel like there's like a soft breeze that's going to come through and reignite this area of your being. Now, the Five of Wands and the Two of Cups is also a struggle to maintain connection, I feel, or feeling like, again, that you need to prove yourself worthy of a connection. You also may have gotten an offer from somebody, even if it's a friend. Like, even if you struggle having friendships, this is absolutely going to apply, because the Page of Cups is a very innocent offer and a return to innocence and a return to the purity of love and the purity of expression. Because when we're children, we don't have any conditions of knowing like what's wrong to say or what's not right, or it's wrong to say that you don't like somebody, or it's wrong to reject somebody, or it's wrong to care about somebody or tell someone you love them a month in, or whatever the case may be, right? Page of Cups and the Five of Pentacles, I feel like, is a bridging of the gap. And I feel like the only way you're going to feel like love is something that you can trust, or partnership is something that you can trust, and your judgment and connection is something that you can trust, is if you renew your faith in yourself, your judgment, and return to innocence in love and love vibration. And then I know I'm holding it upside down, but we do have the Hanged Man. So again, I feel like everything is getting kicked off, excuse me, in Pisces season. I've been getting that in like every sign reading. I don't know what it is. I don't know if we're in kind of like, I don't want to say a holding pattern for Aquarius season, but there is something here about us being in kind of a egg. I don't want to say an incubator, because in incubators you can see through to the product or to what is growing or what is getting worked on. Eggs you can't, okay? All right, Scorpio. Before I start, quick reminder that I am on hiatus from doing private readings. Um, if you join my mailing list below, you'll know when I open back up. But I also released a poetry book, which I feel like is a complete ode to my Scorpio moon. So all my Scorpio friends really would probably love it, especially based on what we're about to talk about in this reading. And if you're interested in getting the book, it is an instant download and it's in the description box below. All right. Regardless of your dating status, okay, we are going to talk about romantic oriented emotional wounds today. And in how we play a role in being our own, what's the word? Almost our own master in our suffering. Okay. I am using the Magdalene Oracle today to give us additional guidance. And we have the card Purgatory. This card is beautiful and it's very scorpionic in nature. And the first thing I saw when I looked at it is because it's all these colors that normally when they blended would be black and we have white, is don't be fooled by thinking that chaos creates darkness or chaos creates loss or chaos creates just a loss of a sense of self, right? Because in blackness, right, in the color black, really everything exists, but you may lose shape. In white, though, we are born again. We are born again. And I feel like it's important to remember that whatever is being stripped from you right now, especially if you've put it off. Because here, the thing about purgatory is purgatory, right, especially in a Catholic Christian sense, is a place of suffering, right? It's a place that we are sent because of our actions. And I feel like it's important for you to reflect on the things that have caused you suffering and how long you were there or how long you suffered over that thing, and if you're still suffering over that thing. And sometimes it's like one situation can cause a suffering and then another situation can trigger the old suffering and it can kind of compound it. When you think about the things that have put you in the hands of suffering, right? Though other people and situations and things put us in that place to begin with, we decide how long we reside there. And this is about taking your power back in a new way. Because we know Scorpio loves control, right? And using control as a modality and a method to avoid suffering that usually ends up compounding it. And this is also about the resurgence of vulnerability and no longer avoiding healing the most difficult and the most raw wounds. Because until things hit the light, until things hit the air, they cannot receive the medicine that they need to be healed. And the things that we reject and deny about ourselves will continue to turn into moldy, succubus-like energy that we kind of, again, continue to compound its pain, right? It's kind of like inner child work, right? Where there's parts of ourselves that we were told when we were a kid, this is not acceptable, and then we hate that part of ourselves, and every time we meet someone that reminds it, it just gets worse, and we try not to be that way, right? But healing is also about integrating. Though we are going to talk about release, there's also a sense of integration, meaning when you integrate that you are this way, or that you've experienced this type of pain, or that you have a tendency to go through these kind of situations, whatever, you can then embrace the lesson inside of that. But if you just are like, I don't ever want to go back there, that ain't part of me, and blah, 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 and just kind of cast it aside, you're doing yourself a disservice. And the overall energy is the Ace of Cups, and behind that is the Ace of Pentacles. You have a real opportunity this month, Scorpio, to renew your faith in your judgment when it comes to your emotional inclinations and really make some positive adjustments, some physical, noticeable adjustments. But it is going to require that you really reflect on how any suffering left in your life is at your own hands. okay? Because we're in control of our healing. Other people may do things to us that cause us pain and things like that, and that is not our fault. You know, this is not about victim blaming or something like that. But it is our responsibility to heal, and we cannot expect the same people and situations and scenarios that hurt us to heal us. So when we reflect on purgatory, also you need to ask yourself, on some level, do you feel like you don't deserve to be healed, or that you don't deserve to live free of this burden? Okay, because there's a lot of old stuff coming up to be cleared once and for all. If you've been in a relationship with a Pisces, I have to say this, or a Pisces dominant person, Neptunian dominant person, if you've been in a relationship, okay, this is saying like enough is enough, okay? I'm gonna be honest. And this is not obviously people who just met a Pisces, or if you have a lot of Pisces in your chart, I feel like this is saying that like just the time has been come and you can't put it off. I don't know if I said this in the beginning of the reading, but we can't fight fate, right? We have control over our destiny, but there's also certain things that we're just fated to understand. And as someone, again, who's a Scorpio moon and who has, you know, in less words, been addicted to masochism on an emotional scale, okay, who felt like pain and love used to go hand in hand and had to go hand in hand in order to establish that level of loyalty, I can tell you nothing took longer for me to heal than that wound that I had to suffer. And it's still coming up here. There's still this idea that suffering and endurance, having to endure things, is part of the cost of, going over the bridge of love. What you're being asked to release is the Hanged Man with the Rune Journey and the Three of Swords with Judgment. So first of all, again, no longer can we suspend the journey that's going to require us to face the deep, deep wounds of the past and the memories that are laced with decisions that were placed with good intention, right? Because when we choose to love someone that abuses us, or when we choose to endure a scenario that all the red flags are waving saying don't do it, we have to be able to extend forgiveness for ourselves for thinking that we could fix something, or that we had to prove ourselves and prove our worthiness and prove how strong we are. That's another thing too. A lot of us have wounds around thinking that you have to be strong to be worthy of love, or that something like that. And the Hanged Man with Journey is there's been a suspension and in an attempt to, I feel like, stop fate or intervene, because it was like this pain was trying to be delayed. You also may have a Scorpio in your life, or not a Scorpio, excuse me, you're the Scorpio. You may have a Pisces in your life that brings this up to you and mirrors this to you. They may not be the one that caused it, but they may be mirroring this pain. And with the Judgment here, I also am feeling that it may be like rooted in past lives. Like you may have attracted this type of pattern for many lifetimes, and that's why it's so hard for you to clear it. Okay? Because Judgment is a second chance though. And with the Rain and the Three of Swords, I always like to think that we're being offered a shower and a cleansing of our pain. Like when your pain comes up and is triggered, or is in your face and you're having to deal with it, even though it feels like you've dealt with it so many times, you're also being offered a chance to cleanse yourself. So I feel like it's important that whatever perspective you have on healing, especially emotional wounds, whatever area of your emotional wounds that you just feel like I've been over that. Whatever that is, that core, because you may be over the situation that originally arose, but you're not over the core root issue yet, okay? Because there's still a piece of you that feels like it's trapped in a cycle. And it's time for things to transition, because there's a new day and a new level of purity being offered to you. The door that's not open for you that was once closed, we have the King of Wands with the rune Luck, the Eight of Wands, and the Page of Cups. So one with the King of Wands here, especially with luck, is that everything is on your side. Like the universe is on your side 24/7. first of all. You know, Spirit, God doesn't want to see you suffering. Like, I personally don't believe in a God who is so righteous that they really like hurt people, right? But the King of Wands talks about taking, you know, life by the balls, respectfully, and taking things into your own hands. And if control is something that you desire so greatly, then why not take control of your healing? And why not take the lead on the ways in which you heal and what you heal and the order in which you heal, right? Now, because this is saying that if you're willing to take control of, especially of the things that you feel are happening to you, especially if you keep feeling like you're getting triggered, then that is your indicator that things will move a lot quicker, Eight of Wands, if you start to actually extend an empathetic hand to yourself, and to the smaller parts of you that feel abandoned and repressed. Also, I feel like, again, there needs to be a return to innocence when it comes to love, and there needs to be a return to friendship when it comes to love. I spoke about this in my year ahead reading, and if you follow me other places, you've seen me talk about this before, and I'm seeing this play out in my life and my friend's life in a big way. With the Page of Cups here, if we don't get back to collectively putting friendship at the root of our romantic connections, we're going to start paying the price in a new way. Meaning we're all going to be like, what is the point of dating? Or, you know, what is the point of partnering off? Like, blah, blah, blah. So fortune and favor is on your side when you are inspired to take action from a place of innocence, purity, and true friendship. Because friendship, especially when it tips into romantic love or starts as friendship and grows into romantic love, can really move mountains. And with the King of Wands here and the Eight of Wands, I feel like there is someone, either this is you or there's someone in your life who is like breathing life into that flame that I was talking about, but also showing you that change is possible. There may be somebody in your life that went through something just as detrimental as you, that wounded you or worse, and you're seeing that they're not scarred by it anymore. Like that they admit that, yes, they've been through there, but they've learned so much from it that they no longer hold themselves in a space of purgatory. They made that change on their own. Because there's a lot of boldness that comes with the King of Wands. The King of Wands doesn't want to settle, right? And I also feel like that's a message as well. If with the Page of Wands, the Page of Cups here, if things have been in this Page of Cups stage in your dating life for a long time, meaning like it's just like a crush or things don't really deepen into a more mature relationship, then you need to then you need to, quote, get the message with the Eight of Wands here and start to make moves in order to not feel stuck, okay? Your current energy as it relates to all of this, in your head, we have the Two of Swords with the rune Constraint. In your heart, we have the Magician. And in your foundation, we have the Two of Pentacles. Two of Swords and Two of Pentacles have been very popular this month. So there's a lot of decision-making energy amidst. Now, with the Two of Swords and Constraint, I feel like it's important to remember that the more we try to turn a blind eye to our immediate reality, the more we're going to play ourselves, okay? We cannot heal or move forward or, you know, come to grips, if you will, with what is happening if we're not honest with ourselves. So the Two of Swords and Constraint is saying that if you're having trouble seeing what's happening in your life, or you don't really get it, and you're not sure like why you feel the way you feel or why this is playing out, I feel like this is saying it's because you want it to just like go away. And it's not. Because with the Two of Pentacles in your foundation, I feel like you've been kind of playing devil's advocate with yourself for a while about what you really want out of love and what you really want out of partnership and how you really feel about everything that's been playing out in your life. And you've been going back and forth. Like, I could go this route, I could go that route, I could go this route, I could go that route. Now, both of these cards have the infinity symbol here. So there is a knowing that the universe plays a role, right? Spirit plays a role, and we're merely co-creators. We have to respond to what Spirit initiates us into. But I feel like you've been so undecided about how to respond that it's getting to the point that, you know, you're feeling the pressure to make a choice. I also feel like there has been a lot of emotional instability, and you're not really sure how to ground all of the energy that's been coming into you, because I don't think that you really know how to own it. Again, sometimes we think that if we own darker, denser emotions, that it means we're rejecting healing, or it means that we haven't moved on. But to be able to own a darker emotion, and again, I go through this a lot in my book. This is the only reading I've talked about my book this much, because when I tell you it's an ode to Scorpio energy, I'm not kidding. Okay, in my book, I discuss a lot of dark, dense, heavy, ugly emotions that we're told we shouldn't have, especially as spiritual people, especially in context to love, and how when you love somebody, so many emotions can be evoked, and until we're ready to allow them to be what they are and ride the wave and crash with the wave and come up again for air, we're not going to be able to give ourselves that grace. And with the Magician in your heart space, first of all, everything needs to be about you right now. What you need, what you want, what's going to make you manifest and turn into the person that you want to be. With the Magician, I also feel like it's important to not put masks up for the world, especially when it comes to your emotional body. Not that you need to tell everybody everything, but wearing a mask is not going to help you feel like people get you. Okay? And I know that part of it is a defense mechanism. And I know that part of it is a genuine feeling unsettled, being so exposed. But you're being given an opportunity right now to really, one, you have all the tools around you to be protected. And no one can ever take from you what you don't already have up for sale. But if you want to command the world around you, if you want to feel in control of your emotions, if you want to be able to plant very purposeful seeds, especially on an emotional scale, then you have to also, one, open your mind to what your emotions mean to you and what comes from them. Like, just allow your emotions to be. Don't try to figure out why you feel the way you feel. Just let yourself feel. And then once the emotion passes through you, you will have understanding. And that is what will get you back on solid ground. Spirit's advice to handle this energy, we have the Queen of Cups with the Temperance. I almost said the Soulmate card, and I don't even call it that. On Temperance, we have the Rune Healing, which is like a double message. Now, the Queen of Cups lives in a very fish tank type of world, right? She has her closed cup. She's extremely intuitive, and she's very tapped in, but she doesn't share with people. And I feel like you need to find an outlet ASAP, whether this be a person, whether this be a journal, whether this be anything. You need to find your safe space in order to heal. Because again, Temperance shows kind of like the Two of Pentacles. It shows a transfer of energy. And there's a need to transfer your energy in order to get more grounded. And know that you don't have to live either completely in your emotions or completely on dry land, if you will. That the key is to be both. Okay? And again, there's a whole energy here about allowing. Okay? With Temperance and healing, there's a need to know that nothing happens overnight. And you also need to be really patient with yourself. But I feel like, okay, my book is called Unraveling. I feel like Scorpio is at a point where they need to slowly unravel this desire to protect what they truly feel. Because I also feel like Scorpio has a tendency to not say how they truly feel until they're at the 11th hour. And that can cause a lot of hindsight type of regret. I have a Pisces friend who doesn't believe in regret, and they call it hindsight bias. And it was like, when they told me that, I was like, wow, I don't think I have the balls to live like that. And I said to him, I was like, I definitely am not like that. I hold on to things too long because I don't want to regret, and then I end up regretting for holding on as long as I did. And if we can all take a page out of my Pisces friend's book, it is important to live in the now and never regret the actions that you take, because at that moment, that's how you felt. Okay, so I feel like we're all getting some medicine right there, and the fact that in order to be emotionally fluid and in order to make peace with your emotional body and your intuitive body and where you are in life, right, as a whole, you have to honor how you feel at every single moment and live that truth at every single moment. Because forgiveness is a process. Being one with yourself, being in tune with yourself is a process. And giving yourself the grace to be whoever you are that day in that moment is what invites in a total wave of ease that you deserve. Going into March, we have the Ten of Swords with the room Destiny, the blank room, and the King of Cups. So again, some of you have been fighting fate and need to leave a relationship that you've been in for a long time, or heal something around relationships that you've been putting off for a long time. I feel like also with the King of Cups here, some of you may have thought that like you had it all figured out when it came to like, oh, I'm so emotionally aware. I am super emotionally open. You know, people come to me as like a sound person of advice and I have it all figured out. And you may get humbled by the universe because the Ten of Swords with Destiny is also too that you can't fight certain endings. Like if something ended, especially with a water sign, it doesn't matter when. I feel like that's just saying like there was nothing that you could have done, okay, to change that. And the more that you make peace with that, the better. Because I feel like Scorpio energy also always had a tendency to want to know what would have happened if things were different. And we may not announce that to everybody, but that is the case. And the King of Cups is also saying that you're becoming more mature because of this, and you're becoming more grounded because of this, and you're learning the power of being emotionally sound and emotionally present. Because that's another thing. The King of Cups is emotionally present and he's not concerned about being overwhelmed by his emotions. And I feel like you're going to stop having this conversation with yourself where you're unsure of what will happen if you're emotionally transparent. What was it? I tweeted it like a couple days ago. It was like there's honesty and then there's vulnerability, and in between resides transparency. So you may be honest all day long, Scorpio, but it's time now for you to start being transparent and easing yourself into that so you can then be vulnerable. Because transparent is more so like when an opportunity presents itself that you wouldn't have to be 100% honest necessarily, you can be transparent and let people know how you feel regardless. But vulnerable is like when you offer the information first. Okay? I love y'all, and I'll talk to you soon. Peace.